Good evening, Del. For these watchdog groups that are paying attention to this, the unusual number of $199.99 charges is concerning, not just because of the thousands of dollars that it racked up, but also because of what it could signal about the larger amounts of money that the congressman used to run for office. He has been on Capitol Hill for less than a month, but Congressman George Santos has already been under more scrutiny than many members face in a career.
How many times are we going to answer the same question? Yes, I'm not going.
It began with a series of false statements he made about his work history and education. And now he's being investigated for campaign transactions, all for the same amount, $199.99. That's just below the Federal Election Commission threshold that requires candidates to preserve all receipts for expenses greater than $200. What is going on here?
He spent exactly $199 dozens and dozens of times.
Adav Noti is the senior director of the Campaign Legal Center, a watchdog group focused on campaign finance laws based in Washington. We told him our investigation had turned up that same number in Santos's campaign expenses 37 times, totaling over $7,000.
No other campaign in the country, anywhere, of the hundreds and hundreds of other people who ran for Congress, reported spending anywhere near that frequency at that exact amount. It sets off red flags immediately. It's implausible to the point of being essentially impossible.
Scripps News dove into the most recent FEC data and discovered a few other candidates in 2022 did report spending $199 a handful of times. But no other campaign came close to Santos in terms of the volume of these expenses. In fact, our investigation found Santos reported spending $199.99 more than all the other 2022 campaigns combined.
I don't touch any of my FEC stuff.
We learned his campaign made 9 separate payments to big box stores, Target, BJ's, Best Buy, Walmart, Staples, months apart, each for exactly $199.99. There were 7 different trips on Amtrak, Delta, American Airlines, also all for $199.99. And then multiple Ubers, 5 rides, months apart, each for exactly $199.99.
Anybody who's taken an Uber or a taxi of any kind can say the chances that you end up with exactly the same charge for multiple fares seems to strain credibility.
Is it possible that somebody could have a bill and then just tip enough to make it come out to that number?
Sure, once.
It was a lot more than once, and there were a wide range of expenses. 3 different hotels in cities across the country, including $199.99 at the W Hotel in South Beach in Miami. We couldn't find a room there advertised for less than about $600. And Santos's campaign said it paid $199.99 for parking at JFK Airport. But the Campaign Legal Center noted in its complaint to the FEC that there is no combination of fees from that airport parking facility that would end in 99 cents. Arguably, the biggest head-scratcher of all revolves around this New York restaurant, known as Il Bacco. We learned Santos had a relationship with the owners, and they contributed more than $5,000 to his campaign. On election night, his campaign racked up nearly $19,000 in debt here.
Congressman Santos, will you resign?
I will not.
Over the course of his congressional run, Santos expensed some 31 transactions at this one restaurant. The campaign reported 7 separate visits, each expense for exactly $199.99, including when Santos's campaign expensed that amount twice on a single day. How does that happen?
Well, I think it probably doesn't happen. I think those charges are probably fictitious, or perhaps they are legitimate charges in the sense that the campaign actually did disperse $199 to the restaurant all those times. But if that's the case, then the money was almost certainly going to something else, not to meals.
All of these $199 expenses are pretty small compared to the millions of dollars Santos spent during his campaign, but Notis says federal investigators will want to determine whether they reflect a deliberate effort to mislead the FEC. He told us that's why Santos's treasurer, who, according to the FEC guidelines, must ensure committee reports are complete, accurate, and timely, is also currently under scrutiny from watchdog groups like his.
The buck does not always stop with the candidate when it comes to reporting campaign finance information. The primary responsibility is with the campaign treasurer, and in this case, it does look like the campaign treasurer may have some legal exposure herself.
And Santos's treasurer, Nancy Marks, resigned on Tuesday. We're told the next steps are for federal investigators to demand documentation for all of the campaign's expenses. Del, we reached out to Santos's lawyers via calling, texting, by email multiple times, did not get any responses. And every time I called Santos's lawyer, his mailbox was full.
Missed it by that much over and over and over and over again. Alex Miller live in New York City. Alex, thank you very much.